Hello and welcome to Make a Mixtape. I'm Zach Little. Today's episode of the podcast is about death and dying. And I know what you're thinking. When is it not? Am I right? But I mean specifically this time. I'm talking to Laura Clemenson, who started this thing called the Pre-Dead Social Club. And the Pre-Dead Social Club is putting on a little show later this month, a project that I've been involved in. So let me just say at the top of the show here that the event is called Lyrics, Legacies, and Liner Notes. It's happening on October 25th in Elliott, Maine. There'll be a link in the podcast notes to buy tickets if you are interested. You'll hear a lot more about it in the episode, while Laura and I make a mixtape of our favorite songs about death. And because we're doing that today, it's only fitting that I'm recording this the day after a funeral. Sheila Brown was a family friend. Sheila Brown was my friend Sam's mother. Sam also has an incredible older sister, Jillian, my first crush. I told her that last night. And Sam and I had a sort of brief but intense window of being very good friends when we were in middle school, which included a road trip all around the American West, I guess when I was 15 years old, which was, an incredible thing for a young teenager to get to experience. We were in Colorado. We went to a baseball game at Mile High Stadium. We were in Las Vegas. We went to Circus. We were in Arizona. We saw the Grand Canyon. We went to the Four Corners. I was just telling my kids about that the other day. Isaac's got this map with the state capitals that he got from the post office that he's obsessed with. And he and Arlo located that spot on the map, that perfect intersection between the states. And they said, Dad, wouldn't it be so cool if you could stand right in the middle of all those four states? And I got to tell them, you can, and I did, with Sam and Sheila Brown. That trip was amazing, and it was all the more amazing to be able to experience it with those people. One of the first things that Sam and I talked about when I saw him yesterday was this night that Sheila and her best friend Janet were driving us pretty fast on our way to the Grand Canyon in the dark. And in the morning, we got a much better look at the narrow roads that we'd been careening around on, and we realized, there were absolutely no guardrails whatsoever. We'd been whipping around on these little roads in the dark, not knowing that the Grand fucking Canyon was to our immediate right. So Sheila passed away in August, and we just had the celebration of life yesterday, and I had a wonderful time there. It brought back a lot of memories, and I think it accessed a lot of feelings that I had sensed but maybe never brought to the forefront of my consciousness. About how close their family was, and about the way that Sheila would sort of zero in on you, this laser beam of focus and attention, and show a genuine interest in you. And I remember the gift of that attention, and I see the fruit of it, in her children and her grandchildren. Sam's got a son's named Josie. When I talked to his wife, I said, like the outlaw Josie Wales? And she said, you're the first person who's picked up on that, and yes. So that felt good. It was a good time. I got a little bit drunk. I'm a little bit hungover today. I had great conversations with people that I went to high school with and probably never really spoke to the whole time we were in high school, but now, we're parents. We got kids. We got stuff to talk about. And as we were all kind of filing out pretty late last night, I said to somebody, this is the way to do it. This is how you die. I certainly wish that Sheila Brown were still with us, but I gotta admire the way she went out. And this being a music podcast and all, I'd be remiss in not mentioning that I've always loved the Neil Young song Unknown Legend. It's the song that Tunde Adebimpe sings in Rachel Getting Married. And that was a song that was playing over a slideshow when I first walked into the service. And I'll always associate it with Sheila now. That song's hers. And this episode is hers too. I'm going to talk to Laura Clemenson. We're gonna chop it up about death. But this one's dedicated to Sheila Brown, Sam Brown, Jillian Brown, the whole family. And the title of this episode is taken from a poem that one of Sheila's granddaughters, Jillian's daughter, read from the stage. They called her Lala. She wrote, "Lala was a wild fox hunting." And I loved that, and I thought it was beautiful, and I didn't want to forget it.
She used to work in a diner. Never seen a woman look finer. I used to order just to watch her float across the floor. She grew up in a small town. Never put her roots down. Daddy always kept moving, so she did too. But somewhere on a desert highway, she rides a Harley Davidson. Her long blonde hair flowing in the breeze. She's been running half her life. The chrome and steel she rides, colliding with the very air she breathes. The air she breathes.
Laura, welcome to Make a Mixtape.
Thanks, Zach. We're going to make a mixtape.
Yeah, we're going to make a mixtape, and unlike some of the other episodes that I've done, this episode is a mixtape about death. And
I'm aware.
And you are
I listened to all the songs.
and you are uniquely suited to be a person with whom I make a podcast mixtape about death. Explain to the folks at home why that is.
Oh, well, that would probably be Zach, because I'm a death doula. Or some people say end-of-life doula. I like the term death Sherpa.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I like that too.
Yeah,
I was
yeah.
going to say I like the alliteration of death doula, but death Sherpa
Death
is a little bit
Sherpa.
more...
It kind of like, one of my friends is like, "You're a death Sherpa," after I explained it. And I'm like, yeah, because non-medical person helping somebody navigate the dying process or their family. And sometimes we're going up a big mountain with the person. And sometimes we carry a little bit more load, and sometimes we just kind of go back and forth. And it's really just trying to keep people comfortable and in the present to the end.
Are there any famous Sherpas other than Tenzing Norgay? Is he the only one?
Okay, I did not research all my Sherpas, but I'm sure there's a lot of famous Sherpas
you
to
didn't
the
get
people.
the email where I told you we
No.
were going to take 5 minutes in this episode and just discuss Sherpas.
So no, I didn't. But I guess the way I'd answer that is, I'll bet you there are so many famous or infamous Sherpas to the people that they worked with.
Yes, I'm sure that's true.
Yeah. And you might not know their names, but they really made a huge impact on those people's
They're
journey.
famous to someone.
Yeah.
So your interest in and general expertise in death is, I think, part and parcel to a group that you founded that's called the Pre-Dead Social Club. Mm-hmm. And, you know, there's, for folks who are interested in participating in Pre-Dead Social Club type events, there's lots of information on your website. But one that is sort of relevant to both of us and is coming up, and that's the reason for convening this podcast right now, is an event that's called Lyrics, Legacies, and Liner Notes. Could you just kind of explain what that is?
Sure. So Lyrics, Legacy, and Liner Notes, the idea kind of was the genesis of not everybody likes to talk about death.
Sure. And
in the creative process, I mean, what is my mission? My personal mission is, let's get everybody talking about death and dying long before it's at our doorstep, so we become comfortable. So while there's a good faction of people that are comfortable talking about it, the idea was, how do musicians process all of this? And music is such a universal thing, and it's so accessible to us. I approached these 4 musicians and said, hey, would you be willing to take the stage and pick 2 songs that you wrote that were either inspired, or you were honoring somebody who had died or is dying, or honoring somebody? And they're like, yes, I would love to do that. And I'm like, okay, now, like, you'd be willing to do that. And would you be willing to work with 4 sweepstakes winners to craft a song after you've interviewed them to honor somebody dead or alive. And that's all of the scope of kind of what's going to happen at Lyrics Legacies and Liner Notes.
So a guy I know, Robert Sapiro, he always says that like the cool thing about the arts is that they can kind of help people access and talk about things. It gives them the tools and the language and the ideas to talk about things they wouldn't necessarily be able to talk about.
Yeah.
So just straight up going and witnessing people performing these songs is a way to hand people the tools to think about and access these feelings. But then you've gone a step further and you're taking these 4 people who probably, maybe some of them are songwriters, but probably they're people who would not normally write a song.
Yeah, I think that's true.
Yeah, and now they're being taken along that process. They're kind of like being walked along the bridge between the artist and the audience, and they get to experience and process their own feelings in a very unique way.
Well, in the process that we gave for the sweepstakes winners is the musicians and myself came up with, I think there was maybe 12 questions. It's like, tell us about this person. And the level of a deep dive that they went through very quickly to kind of say the essence of what's kind of going on, this was on the surface.
I think it's going to be a really interesting event. I'm excited to be a part of it in a small way. And, everybody who's listening to this should come.
Yeah.
I think it'll be great. But so since we're talking about, since we're going to see a bunch of songs performed about this, we thought it would be a good idea to talk about some of our favorite songs that address this subject. And so, I thought we should just go down the list, and let's start with the 5th song that you selected in your top 5 countdown. It feels weird to say top 5.
Top 5 countdown?
Yeah.
Well, also, can I just say something real quick?
Of course.
I loved this process because there was only one song on your list that I knew. I definitely knew. The other ones, I don't even think I barely knew the artist.
Sure, yeah.
And so what I love is to hear a little bit more about what that meant for you, because that's part of the Pre-Dead Social Club, and that is really just part of talking about death and dying. It's like, what do you think?
Absolutely.
So this took me to places and it had me feel things in a different way than my own song list. So anyhow, thank you.
Well, the same thing is true for me.
Okay.
Like, I had not heard most of these songs before. Now, the 5th one, of course, I had heard before, which is Tears in Heaven, Eric Clapton.
Yeah.
And I know we're about to talk about a real bummer thing with Eric Clapton, so let me tell you a funny thing about Eric Clapton first, which is that I used to work at the Hard Rock Cafe in Boston.
Okay.
And whenever I hear the name Eric Clapton, I always think about this, because at the Hard Rock Cafe, they're always like, anybody who comes in here, you got to treat them the same way, okay? They're like, I don't care if Eric Clapton comes in and sits at the bar. You just treat him like any other customer, right? So I was like, all right, sure. Yeah, Eric Clapton's going to come in and sit at the bar. Yeah. So one day, I'm working, and in my section, my manager comes to me, and he's like, hey, a guy in your section there, he's a really big guy at a local radio station, so make sure you really give him a good treatment. And I was like, hang on a second. Because I thought that even if Eric Clapton came in here, we were supposed to treat them the same way.
Yeah.
And I said, so no, I'm going to give him the same shitty service that I give everybody else. And in so doing, I will be adhering to the Hard Rock Cafe's values.
Yeah, the ethos.
Yeah. So that's every time I think of Eric Clapton, I can never not think about him saying it, even if Eric Clapton came in and sat at the bar.
I love it.
So
right.
yeah, so
That's
Eric
a good
Clapton,
one.
Tears in Heaven, very sad song. And I think, okay, well, tell me first. Tell me what you think about this song.
Well, I think probably one of the hardest things is having a young child, your child, die. It's unfathomable until it happens, and then you're just trying to navigate. So I love. It's like he opens it up and he's like, "Would you know my name if you saw me in heaven?" I mean, that's the opening line. It's like, if anybody has a dry eye in the house, right there, it's like, okay, let's play it again. It is such a tender song, so vulnerable, but the melody, it takes you, it holds you. I felt like you have bigger embrace the entire time that you're listening to this song. That's to me of the essence. It's like I can't overcomplicate it. because of the nature of how and why he wrote that song.
Yeah. This song, that was a big radio hit when I was a kid, and I did not know what it was about. You know, like I don't think I was really listening.
Sure.
And a funny thing too is that was sort of what I thought Eric Clapton's song sounded like. So to be introduced later to like Derek and the Dominoes and stuff, I was like, oh, I didn't know this guy could really cook. You know?
Yeah.
And to everyone else who'd been around earlier had the opposite experience. But yes, there's a movie that I really love that's called Come On, Come On. Doesn't it? No children die in this movie. It's not about that. But one of the ideas that it's about is about this idea that young people, really young people, will have these experiences with you that could be so meaningful to you as an adult. And then when they grow up, it's like they're not even going to remember it. You know, like it's barely going to register for them. And it's sort of beautiful and heartbreaking. And as a parent of young children, it's something I think about all the time. You know, I think all the time about what pieces of this you'll remember. And so until I listened to this song again, thinking about this project, I hadn't really thought about it with respect to the idea of like losing a child.
Yeah.
You know, would you know my name? Like we never even got the chance for anything to really register.
Yeah.
And that's somehow even more heartbreaking than even just the idea of losing a child.
Yeah. The hope of getting to know somebody over time. But also a part of the song was, I can't stay here in heaven. So to me, it's like, you know, is he seeing his child in his dreams? Is he seeing his child, depending upon what you believe, like in the presence? And is that comforting? It seems like it's comforting. And so I also just think about any time somebody dies of a certain age, not of quote unquote old age, I look at it as like your work here was done. You know, as hard as it is for the rest of us left behind, and one looks at also just the death of a child. It's like, whoa, really? Like I forgot how old his son was at the time, but
really young, like 3. I think.
3. It's like the impact one possibly could make just for a short bit of time, and we might not know even what that means, but it exists, and it might not exist the same for everybody else. So that's a little philosophical, but I
think that makes sense. I think parents who do lose children, I think, come to a kind of level of, I don't know, philosophical understanding that I don't know that anybody else is really. I don't think you get there unless you're forced into it.
Yeah. Well, I think you also have to find your own space of understanding to continue to move on in the world.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well,
so is this where like you're going to pick a song, I pick a song?
I think so.
Okay.
I think it makes sense to do that. So as I recall, the 5th one that I put on the list was a song by a band called Jimmy Eat World, and the song's called Here You Meet. I guess honestly the reason is that there's a line in the song that says like, I never said thank you for that, and I'll never have a chance. And weirdly enough, I would say that's unfortunately a very common experience for me. Maybe it's at the point I'm at in my life, but I feel like I've lost a lot of people in the last 5-10 years where I thought, oh, I didn't get a chance to tell them what they meant to me. And
it's not uncommon.
Yeah, there's actually an episode of this podcast a while back that's called And Hear the Wheel, and it's literally just about this thing that happened where I was thinking a lot about this poem, The Wasteland, which I studied a lot in college. And I thought a lot about my professor, who was just so great to me. And I was like, oh, I got to reach out to him and send him a message. And when I Googled him to get his email address, I found out that he had died. He was like 54. He had died very young. And it had been like 3 years, you know, and the idea that he had died 3 years ago, and I totally missed it, was tough. More recently, though, one of my mentors growing up passed away. And I actually didn't have that feeling. You know, I thought, no, I did not explicitly say to him, this is all the things that you did for me and this is what it meant to me. But I knew that he knew. And so.
How do you say a little bit more about that?
So this is the guy who kind of taught me everything I know about video and everything else. And we spent a lot of time together when I was in high school, me and my friends and this guy who was this older, eccentric guy who ran the public access TV station.
Awesome.
And, you know, since probably 2016 or so, I don't think I've seen him since 2016 or something. It was before I had children was the last time that I actually saw him and visited with him. And I think he'd been sick for a while. And then it was like, you know, it was COVID and everything else. So I didn't really understand how to go and see him. But even by then, I was kind of on the path to where I am now.
Yeah.
And I think he knew that between me and several of my other friends, we all had sort of jobs and we all had emerging careers in this sort of field that he set us up in.
Right. So he like, you stayed in touch-ish?
Yeah. And I think he knew.
Yeah.
And I think he had very fond memories of his time with us. You know, he would always tell me that nobody else really took advantage of, like what was available to them.
Yeah.
After we left our school and the public access TV station, it got much more technologically advanced.
Right.
And he said, you know, the kids now don't care about it.
Huh.
And I thought, wow, you know, if I had access to all the stuff these kids had access to,
Right.
the damage I could have done.
Yeah.
But I think he.
Well, I like the fact that I believe you. I believe that he had the essence of that.
Yeah.
I still kind of think you just said a bunch of things that just made me think about a college professor that it was in the art department. I was just somebody who was watching his, like, I developed photos for him. He's a photography professor. You know, graduated a couple years later, came back, and I'm like, hey, I want to, you know, say hi to Mr. So-and-so. And the woman in charge of, she was my former boss. She's like, oh, you didn't hear. She goes, him and his wife died in a car accident, tragically.
gosh.
And I'm just like, what?
Yeah.
It's like, and then, but then I like, when my mom was dying, a good friend said to me, are you good with your mom? Like, whoa, what do you mean by that? Like, you got some stuff you got to like sort out. I go, oh, a little different than what we're talking about, but still, I go, I don't think so, but I should ask, you know? So
Yeah.
I asked my mom, I'm like, are we good? Do you have anything? Do you have some things that you've just been harboring that right now we should just clear up?
Yeah.
And she goes, no. I go, are you sure? Because there's a couple I could think of. I go, but I don't want to talk about it if you don't want to talk about it. You know?
Yeah.
A little different. But I am now of the frame of mind. Send somebody a text.
Yeah.
I've been thinking about you. Thanks for X. Boom. Even though I prefer a handwritten something.
Sure.
But, you know, we live in a day and age that could come out of nowhere and people are like, I really like that.
Yeah. No, I know. I really should do it too because
Make an agreement.
Yeah.
The next time something like comes up, you're going to do it, a small little thing,
Yeah.
and just freaking do it. Don't overthink it.
all right, I am. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. All right. So I don't know. I didn't really have anything major to say about this Jimmy Eat World song. I just have always liked it, and it's clearly about someone dying.
Well, it's about somebody dying, and it's like you said, the regrets. And so I got into this, and then like, what is this song really about? Do you know the backstory?
No.
Oh, I did a little research.
Oh, I love this.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because I'm just like, I was a little confused on some things, even though, to your point, it was a pretty straightforward. Well, it turns out there were two sisters who were groupies, band of them and Weezer, and they would see them on the road all the time. And "Hear You Me" is what these two girls would always say. And they would give band members who were new in town, didn't know anybody, a place to stay.
I see.
Yeah, and so it's a little bit of a homage to these two young women who very much supported Weezer and Jimmy Eat World.
Patrons of the arts.
Patrons of the arts, and probably feeling like, yeah, we really didn't say thanks enough.
Wow. Well, now I've learned something new about this song. See, this is a funny thing. Is I'm very much like a vibes guy, so I don't always know. I don't always know what the real answer is.
Okay. All right.
So let's talk about Tyler Childers. Childers. And this song, "Follow You to Virgie."
Yeah.
So,
do you know? Like, do you have a clue on what you think it's about?
I was kind of two minds because I was listening to it and I was like, "This is like a former girlfriend or someone who passed away," and then I was thinking maybe like a mom. Because he mentions like someone named Cody in a way that sort of sounds like he's talking to his son.
Yeah.
And saying like, "Can you see her?
Yeah.
Like can you see her through the pines?"
Yeah.
And so I thought, okay, is that the mother of the child or is that his own mother? And I was I got a little lost in it.
Yeah, I didn't know. I love the whole, like, talk about vibe. I just love, I love the whole song. It's happy, it's poignant. I mean, it's happy is a happy, song of honoring somebody it's a happy song.
Yeah, I mean, as the kids say, it slaps.
Okay, slaps. Right?
Yeah.
All right. I did not know until one day, my partner Jeff, he's like, I go, "What is that song about?"
Yeah.
And so he's like, it's his grandmother who died. Big fan. She's like, he's like, all of us boys are trying to figure out how to play the guitar. I felt like she was in the corner always watching them and like, you guys are doing great.
Yeah.
And then Cody was a friend of his who died. So I just learned this today because I'm like, what is this Cody thing? That's a mystery.
You don't
to
hear
me.
the name Cody in a lot of songs.
I know. And then it's like, can you see her? And I really thought for the entire time until just a little bit ago, he was playing next to him in real life, like a bandmate.
Sure.
And he's like, do you see her? But no, Cody also had died. So he's talking to Cody. It's like, if you see her.
Plot twist.
Yeah.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, the Virgie part.
I don't know. So the Virgie, like.
It made me think, like, are we talking about, like Dante's Inferno? Like, is it like a nickname for Virgil?
Oh, I don't. That is a mystery. We're not going to solve that here.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay.
Because I too, I was hoping there'd be like Virgie is slang or short for ha ha ha. No.
I mean, it could be Virginia. It could be like, that's where he thinks heaven is.
Oh, he is from West Virginia.
Okay.
So I'll bet you, I don't know, maybe she's from Virginia. I'll follow you to Virgie, like going back home. I don't know. I think this is all part of art. Some of it could just be open to our own interpretation.
Yeah.
And maybe he'll never say exactly what this is.
Right.
Or all the fans know, but you and I don't know because we're not. Well, you're a new fan.
Maybe people will write in.
Maybe you'll write in.
Maybe we'll get some Spotify comments. Okay. So the next song on my list is a song called "It Just Is" by a band called Rilo Kiley. One of my favorite bands growing up. They're a kind of LA indie rock band. They recently reunited.
She's got a beautiful voice.
She does.
Wow.
Yes. And that album, it's from an album called More Adventurous. And that was the one where it felt like she really figured out how to use her voice too.
All right.
I was, growing up, I was listening to a lot of bands where these people would start out when they were like 20 years old.
Yeah.
And they would become fairly successful and they would enough to be out on the road. And a really funny thing would happen with these bands where after their first or second album, the singer's voice would like dramatically change.
In a good way?
In a good way.
Because you think that they've all of a sudden discovered that their voice is also their instrument?
Yeah, it's like suddenly they had to sing all the time, right? And when you have to sing every single night, one of two things happens. You learn how to do it properly.
Yeah.
Or you end up with vocal nose and you have to get like surgery and vocal rest and the Justin
like
Bieber
I know.
thing.
Like, I've heard of it.
Yeah. So that happens, I think. And so that was,
I'm not laughing about it because it sounds horrible. Yeah.
Well, it is, but it definitely seems like something you get over because I don't know of anyone yet who has been stopped having to stop sing forever.
Right.
But a lot of people do have to change how they sing. And so so Jenny Lewis, great singer. And the lead guitarist of this band is a guy named Blake Sennett, who is just a gigantic influence on my brother and I. Like, we both kind of learned how to play guitar just by kind of listening to this
really?
band.
All right.
Yes.
All right.
So this is a song that actually is like, I always think of it as a song about death just because of the chorus is literally, it just is, everybody dies. Yeah. And
I probably didn't say it. Yeah, I'm not Jenny.
And this song actually is specifically about Elliott Smith.
Yeah, I see. I did a little research.
So you did the research.
I did research because I'm just like, all right. The reason why I did the research is this loss isn't good enough for sorrow or inspiration. To me, that was confusing. It's kind of like, oh, what is like, because also it's like he wasn't our son, but he belonged to everybody. So that felt like a beautiful statement.
Yeah.
But then it was just like, what's going on here?
Yeah, I felt like it was an interesting, it's like, it's a song about mixed feelings, right? It's like mixed feelings about losing someone.
Yeah.
And maybe about losing someone that you sort of thought you were going to lose, you know? And I think in the case of someone like Elliott Smith, who was like a sometimes fairly depressive person.
Yeah.
Now there are some people out there who don't necessarily like Elliott Smith's suicide is like very speculated over, like whether or not it actually happened or whether something else happened or whether it was like a domestic dispute or whatever.
All right.
Some people say that he was really turning things around.
Okay. Who knows?
But who knows?
know?
And it was, gosh, at this point it was like 22 years ago. But that Elliott Smith's death, actually, there's a whole bunch of songs. You could do a whole mixtape that's like
just Elliott Smith.
like spiraling out from Elliott Smith's death.
I don't even know. Is it fair? Should I even reveal that I don't know really who? Do I know who Elliott Smith is?
You might know, like, so, all right, the most famous Elliott Smith ever got was he did all of the music for the movie Good Will Hunting.
Oh.
And so, like, there's a
Okay.
song from that called Miss Misery that he, like, performed at the Oscars.
Oh.
But beyond that, he was always kind of a fairly underground figure.
All right.
I mean, he's a great musician. He's one of these guys who played everything, you know, so he would go into the studio and record, like, by himself and create these huge, gigantic sounding
He had a
songs.
big brain.
Yeah, and he's also like, there's a famous. I don't know. Have you ever seen the movie The Royal Tenenbaums?
Have I? I'm not the big like maybe.
There's an iconic Elliott Smith scored scene.
Okay.
I would say those are the two times Elliott Smith had the largest cultural penetration.
All right. Okay.
And before that, he was always just a person who was really beloved by musicians.
Yeah, yeah.
So it makes sense that he's like a musician's musician.
Yes.
And so his death caused a lot of, you know, these songs. But I think it's a really beautiful song, even though it is kind of like you hear that line and you're like, huh? Like this loss isn't good enough for sorrow inspiration?
Yeah.
Yeah, it just is. Which is kind of an interesting feeling, but
I still kind of want to just write that out over and over again. This loss, it feels like a double negative, so it means it's a positive.
Sure. Yeah. I feel like, well, I guess I always feel like it's answered by it just is, right? It's like, it's a song about just accepting the fact of someone's death.
Right.
And so, and it's just as simple as that. But it's also, it's a simple song. It's short. It's the last song on their album.
It's 2 minutes. It is uplifting. It is a happy song, I think. You know, if you put other lyrics to it, it was complex from how she sings it and to all the notes and the melodies, and then you throw in a few curveballs, but you know that somebody died. So I liked it.
Yeah.
There wasn't any of your songs, by the way, I did not like.
Oh, well, good.
I mean, not like I had to like them.
I feel the same way.
Yeah.
No, that was good. Yeah, no, we were going to just straight up skip a song if you didn't like it. So the third song on your list, Jason Isbell. There's like a Jason Isbell poster right over there.
Oh, yeah.
Jason Isbell, If We Were Vampires. This is a fun song.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like, I was gonna try to add a reservation to that, but I don't think I need to. Like, it's a fun song.
It's a fun song, and I think I feel like the theme for me was you've got husband and wife, you know, lifelong partners, whomever, like who are in romantic, committed relationships.
Yeah,
people look at each other. It's like, well, you're gonna go first, you know? No, you're gonna go because nobody wants to be left alone, which is part of this. But the vampire part was. Yeah, if we were vampires, this is all be a joke. And I wouldn't really need to hold your hand. And it's like, oh. And then he's like, but I think it's a good thing that we know that we die because we gotta make this life kind of make something of it.
Right. It's like that thing, the finite quality of life is what makes us appreciate it, basically. It made me think of the television show 6 Feet Under. There's a scene where a woman says, why do people die? And the answer is to make life worth living.
Have you, I won't remember the name of the artist, but there was a beautiful montage of just talking about or showing all the reasons why it's not a good idea to think that we want to live forever. And one of the contemplations is we need to make room for all the other people coming up and all their bright ideas and all their beauty. And we can't shine all the time. And how will anything evolve? Anyhow, that was one of the pieces of that. But also what I loved about this song is, maybe we got 40 years together, you know? And it's like, 40. 40 feels like a good, maybe too much, too little, depending upon
how you're feeling about your marriage at any given moment.
Yeah. And then he's like, maybe time running out is a gift. I'm like, it sounds like you and I agree on that, you know?
I think that's a common thing in Jason Isbell's songs. It's a kind of like rough-hewn, hard-won wisdom.
Yeah.
Where he just has a way of putting it where you just go like,
yeah,
I agree.
Yeah. His lens leads you somewhere, and it feels as though he's, you know, if you're in the eye doctor's office and all of a sudden like, nope, I can't read it. Oh, now I can read that.
Oh, there you go. I love that as a metaphor for something a song can help you believe.
On the tree in my backyard with the McLaren P1 like it's NASCAR. Make sure the duct tape ain't bust on it.
Griselda.
Look.
All right, so the third song on my list was, I think this is the one that you and I both sort of knew, which is Warren Zevon.
Yeah.
Keep Me in Your Heart.
Yeah.
And I mean, the whole Warren Zevon story of Warren Zevon's sort of is he knew it was coming, you know? And there are several artists now that have sort of joined him in that. I mean, David Bowie's last album is very similar, where he knew and his band knew he was dying, but nobody else knew.
Yeah.
Warren Zevon, you know, he made it a story. Like he went on David Letterman, he talked about it.
Yeah.
My brother always tells a story of Warren Zevon gave David Letterman his guitar after he performed, and like, you know, and he told him to take care of it for him.
Oh,
you know,
and eat the sandwich.
Yeah, right. Yeah, enjoy every sandwich. Yeah, Warren Zevon. I thought very cool to like look death in the face and say like, I'm gonna write some songs about it, you know, and to really nail it. You know, I mean,
how did you think he nailed it?
I mean, I just think the song is so beautiful, and I think about like, just, I guess there's something that's so beautiful and sort of non-committal about "Keep Me in Your Heart for a While." He's not asking for a lot. He's like, you know what? Like, think of me sometimes.
When I heard that, "Keep Me in Your Heart for a While," to me, a while is a long time because maybe that's what I wanted to hear.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, but like he's singing like, sometimes when you're doing things around the house,
yeah,
you know, maybe you'll think about me.
Yeah.
And I just thought, I love that.
I love that.
It's like it's a modest ask.
Yeah.
And it's realistic.
Well, also, it's like, I don't even know if it's an ask. I think it's a suggestion.
Sure. Yeah.
Right?
I think that's probably true.
Yeah.
And I just think like, and it's true too, that like, I do think about Warren Zevon, you know, a lot. Every time someone says like, I saw a weird looking guy walking down the street, I imagine like Warren Zevon singing that line, and you know, like to the tune of Werewolves of London or something.
Yeah.
So I think of Warren Zevon all the time, and I just think of this song as being kind of a perfect example of again, my brother has a playlist. He has songs called "Play at My Funeral," and this song is on there, and it's a great song to play at the funeral. And I also, just from a musical standpoint, I'm a huge fan of songs where the drums don't come in for a while.
Oh, okay.
And this is one of those ones that withholds the drums for a while.
Yeah.
And then it comes in and you're like, oh, now we're really grooving, you know? So.
Okay, I'm going to have to know, like, me not being a musician, I wouldn't necessarily, I would just know how I felt.
Sure.
I wouldn't know what I was, all the instrument. Of course, I know what the drums sound like,
Sure,
you know?
yeah.
One of the favorite lines of that song, it was, you know, I'm tied to you like buttons on your blouse. Keep me in your heart for a while.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, oh, I just felt like this was such a beautiful gift to whomever he was leaving behind in his very intimate personal world. It's like, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
You're going to be okay. You're going to keep doing your things and I'll be here.
Yeah, I think he had a great death in that way.
Yeah.
Right? He like checked all the boxes. Mm-hmm. And so that's something to kind of like aspire to. You know?
Well, also, I feel like this is a bit of an anthem song. Sha la 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 la
Yeah,
la 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 la. I was like, yeah, it's like I could sing that.
And also, like, he earned it.
me-
If you're
yeah.
going to do a sha-la-la-la-la, you got to earn it. But he did.
Put it out, and that last song that you do, he's like, I've always been wanting to do the sha la la thing.
Yeah.
And nobody's gonna say I can't.
No, he got away with it.
He got away with it.
That's
Perfect. Yeah, it just felt like a warm, again, one of these warm hugs. It would be lovely to hear whomever is his immediate family, like how that song might have carried them through.
Yeah.
And is it still a song that they help carries them?
Yeah.
You know?
Well, it shouldn't be hard to track down people named Zevon. I don't think that's a really common last name.
No, I'm like,
you know?
I don't think I've met a Zevon in my
No,
life. Do you
haven't
think
met
it's a
any
real last name? Okay, now it makes us think, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It is like a little bit like Martian adjacent. Like it sounds like he's, he was kind of crafting
Martian
himself as a
adjacent.
character from outer space. But yeah, no, I don't know.
I'm going to go look it up.
Yeah,
I'll get back
we'll
to you
find out who the
offline.
surviving Zevons
are.
And we'll track them down and we'll ask them how they felt about this song. All right, let's talk about, you're going to have to help me out with the pronunciation of this guy's name. Mark Sibilia?
I'm going to go with that. I would have
Sibilia.
said Skibilia.
Skibilia?
But I think Sibilia makes sense.
Sure.
He's kind of new. Have you ever heard?
No,
this?
I'd never heard of him before. This is the first time I heard anything of his.
Yeah,
This song.
and he's kind of blown up out there. And I think this song, More to This, put him in the focus of folks.
So this song's a real anthem to agnosticism. You know?
Well, is it?
I don't know.
I think it's an anthem
Do you
to.
think it comes down?
I think it's an anthem to. What do you think? No, what do you think? What do
Yeah,
you think?
sure.
And it's kind of like, I hope it isn't what you think. I hope it's more of like what I think. But we're still talking about it.
Right. Great song for the Pre-Dead Social Club.
I like shared this forever ago. I love the fact that he's like, I haven't been thinking about what dying is going to be like, and just say it. I've
Yeah.
been thinking about it. It's like cool, like make it normal because good that we're thinking about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it feels like a kitchen table conversation. It feels like you're just having a walk in the woods, or all of a sudden it's like you ordered 2 coffees, and it's like, I've been thinking about this. What have you been thinking about that? And you give people permission to like, yeah, and it could be like, why are you thinking about it?
Right.
Because death happens every day. Why aren't we thinking about it more and talking about it? It's not like this happens every 10 years,
Yeah.
People think more about 100-year floods than they do death.
That's true. Yeah.
Not really well sometimes, but
Well, they like to imagine it. They're like, would it be fun to go to the store in a boat? No, but I feel like with this song, and this was the one that made me think, like, if there's sort of a common sonic theme to the songs that you selected, is that a lot of them are pretty spare, in their arrangement and everything.
Oh,
and I think
yeah.
it makes sense that you would gravitate toward that, and you just sort of illustrated it when you said, like, just say it, right? That these songs don't elide their subject, and they don't distract with like a lot of other stuff going on. There's not like a big buzzing guitar solo in it or something. It's like it's a guitar and it's a voice a lot of the time.
it could just be pretty simple. And I like things right on the nose.
Yeah, it could be that you're like, you have a preference for discussing this in a way that is very plain spoken.
Mm-hmm.
It's that, these are all folky,
Yeah.
populist songs.
Yeah. And I on the flip side, I loved that there was a bit of mystery in some of your songs. It's like, what is really going on here?
Sure. Yeah.
Because I think there's mystery in dying.
yeah.
And death. So it's like, it doesn't have to be, it's not so obvious. So anyhow, I love this mixtape so far.
We've got both. We've got simplicity and we've got complication. Yeah. So the second song on my list was the one that I swapped
hold on.
out.
I want to go back here.
Okay, go ahead.
I love the fact that he's talking to his daughter.
Yes.
I
right.
love the fact that it felt like an intergenerational conversation
Which is important.
and to a neighbor, right? This is not just your bestie,
Right.
So, okay, carry on. I just thought that was also resonated a lot with me.
worth pointing out.
Yeah.
So the song that my second song is a song called Birds Don't Sing. This is a brand new song. This album came out this year. by a rap group called Clips. And so
And you got the heartbeat of John Legend in there.
Yes.
I don't know the heartbeat, but you got the silky John Legend.
Yeah. John Legend, just a real friend to the rappers of the world, because when they need someone to sing, he's like the first call for like so many people.
Really? Okay, so
Oh,
that's
yeah.
that's something I don't know about.
John Legend stays working.
Okay, yeah.
He is always working. But so Clips it's two brothers.
Is it like a bat phone, you think? He gets a call?
Yeah, I think there's probably at him and Chrissy Teigen's house.
Yeah.
There's one for her
Yeah.
that's like, we need you to come like do some social media influencing for this restaurant.
Right.
And then for him, it's like, we need you to come sing a hook on this song,
And he just picks it up.
And now he's got Kanye's number blocked. But like, other than that, everybody else who calls
just rings in. Yeah.
Kanye West, who has kind of a jump scare appearance in this song. So Clips is two brothers. It's Pusha T and Malice, and they're two brothers. They're two rappers. Pusha T has had more of a career on his own in the last few years. He was a longtime producer for like Jay-Z and Kanye West.
Okay.
Lots of other people. He also wrote the "I'm Lovin' It" jingle for McDonald's.
Really?
Yes. So that is part of Pusha T's musical legacy.
All right. Eclectic.
Yeah, and he like several of Kanye West's collaborators, he has distanced himself somewhat, but not like super explicitly from Kanye.
Yeah.
And what I thought was very interesting is that he mentions Kanye West and Elon Musk in this song.
Oh, yeah.
As a way to kind of talk about the superficial things that were distracting him when real life was going on.
Yeah. We see, did you think, so I looked at this, it wasn't, well, you said I don't know if you said letting him get distracted. In my mind, he was in denial.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, my eyes see this, my heart says something else, and my brain says something else. I'm just going to kind of get on with my day because you just haven't sat me down and said, I'm dying. And until that, I'm going to pretend life is kind of what it is.
Yeah.
Which is kind of a human thing.
Right. It took me a couple listens to this song to really understand what I was listening to, which is that it's these two brothers telling the story of both of their parents dying.
Yeah. It felt like in close succession.
Yes. Yeah. I think it seems to be implying that their father took his own life.
And that was not clear to me.
Yeah.
It was like, okay, you're just texting or you have a bunch of unfinished things and then the Bible. I don't know.
Yeah.
I'm on the fence. And it's like, part of me is like, is that, is death by suicide one of those things that if it was, great to talk about it and bring it out and say, I love you and I'm going to miss you and I really had a dad. Or the aloofness of like, I'm just going through your drawers and this is part of who you are. And some of it I recognize and some of it maybe I don't.
Right.
Right.
Yeah. I wasn't sure. I thought that, I guess I thought too about like people like Johnny Cash, who died like 6 months after June Carter Cash died,
Yeah.
right? And it
Right.
wasn't that he like took his own life. It was that basically his own health just plummeted.
Yeah.
It's like his will to survive sort of left him when he
Yeah.
lost his
Yeah.
wife. So that might have been what they were kind of talking about here. But I also thought, I don't know if there were like, if it was a situation where someone was like intentionally overdosing or something and you were writing a text and you didn't get to finish it.
Right.
It's kind of bleak, but
Yeah. I did go down the path of who divorced who? Because he's like, my mom, mom said we shouldn't have split or I would have gotten. So it's kind of like, okay, there was maybe some unfinished thing and going to what I think you just alluded to is, broken heart.
Lost in emotion, mama's youngest. Trying to navigate life without my compass. Some experience death and feel numbness. But not me, I felt it all and couldn't function. Seeing you that day, telling you my plans, but I was leaving you that day. It was in God's hands.
I'm not used. I guess I am used to like Pusha T as a rapper who is very like emotional in a strange way, but it's like this is a vulnerability that you do not normally expect from these guys.
I felt it in my chest.
Yeah.
Like I didn't feel it throughout my body. I felt it all like right here.
Yeah.
Like, and it felt a little bit that it felt like maybe that's as far as it could possibly go. And this was a lot for them to get out in this intimate kind of way. That's yeah, I mean, some songs you feel throughout your whole body. This one felt like it was centralized.
And so the last song that you chose for your mixtape, Rachel Kilgore, Heart on Fire. Which, this is a common phrase in songs, heart on fire. But in this case,
It's literal.
yeah, literally on fire. This is a song that's like specifically about cremation.
Yeah. Well,
A temple that's now ash.
Yeah.
Right? Your body's a temple. Yeah.
I met her.
Oh, really?
She performed up in Portland at One Longfellow Square.
Oh, okay.
And it was an album she dedicated to her dad who died of dementia.
I see.
And to me, that's 2 deaths.
Yeah.
And trying to process. And if you watch the video on this, it is it's like an old barn and it overlaid a bunch of flames, but and it is about Heart on Fire, going through cremation.
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. But it also felt as though that she was saying to her dad that it's going to be okay. It just felt like there was some interplay of messages. I'm like, oh, were you saying this after he died to him? Like, as maybe you're going and getting him cremated?
Yeah.
Or are you saying it beforehand? Like, was there fear around something? I know there's a couple things in there that made me kind of wonder. But talk about a song, an album that is totally retrospective of a relationship of a parent and a child, the entire album.
Yeah,
And
I thought so, because the album art with the song is like a family photo, and
Yeah.
the father is kind of half fading away.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah, so that's definitely, an evocative image.
Yeah.
And I think the album's called My Father Loved Me.
My Father Loved Me.
Yeah.
And complicated relationship. Again, thinking about going back to lyrics like you see in liner notes, is how do you write songs about tricky? How do you honor people who you have a tricky relationship?
Yeah.
Versus just treasured. And I feel like she found the ebbs and the flows between the both. And she wasn't trying to do one or the other. She's like, this is the whole masterful messiness
Right.
of that, which I loved.
I like the idea of taking a kind of a wider approach to it, and not necessarily feeling as though you have to sum it all up in one song, but to take a whole album, to take this sort of the panorama of
Yeah.
the whole thing, and you can capture the highs and the lows and the
Yeah.
whatever else. And I think that's, I don't know, that's like a suitable tribute to a parent.
A suitable tribute, and also she talks, and this is part of the album, but in her stage conversation, is, her parents got divorced, and now her dad lives on her mom's mantle. For real.
Yeah.
And it's like, so there's maybe fences that get mended even when you're not around,
Yeah.
which I like the thought of that.
Yes, I do. I like the thought of that too. And I think it's funny that we've talked about these different perspectives on death, from the agnostic, the what do you think, to something very specific, right? Like the sort of gnarly experience of cremation. And somehow the song that we're left with is the Nick Cave one, Into My Arms, which is like the most explicitly religious one.
Right. And that was confusing to me too.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, did somebody die here?
I think I first really connected with this song because it is used in a funeral scene in a great movie called About Time.
Oh.
And the movie About Time is about a guy who discovers that the men in his family can travel back in time after they turn 18 years old.
Just the men.
Yeah, it's like a paternal thing that gets passed down.
Okay.
So he is able to travel back in time, and his father is able to as well. But you're only ever really seeing it from his point of view and the things that he's doing. And, he like uses it to, when he screws up wooing the woman he believes is going to be the woman of his dreams, he uses it to go back and try again.
Groundhog Day.
Yes. and so eventually there's kind of a wrinkle where he starts having children with his wife. And he discovers that if he goes back before his children were born, when he comes back, it's different children. So it's like
That'll keep you on your toes
that's
watching
like
this movie.
yeah. So that's like a hard stop.
Yeah.
Where he can no longer go back to to a point.
What is this movie?
It's called About Time.
About Time.
Yeah. It's like there's so much in the movie actually that this is like a tiny part of it.
It sounds like I'll have to watch this movie 5 times.
Yeah. It's wonderful though. It's a really beautiful movie. It's directed by Richard Curtis, who like wrote like Love Actually. You know, like it's that kind of he's that kind of like sappy type guy.
Yeah.
So it is a very sappy kind of movie, but in a really satisfying and beautiful way. So anyway, yeah. It really takes, like any other science fiction movie, it takes ideas like love and birth and death and kind of explodes them through these really high concept things. So anyway, that song, Into My Arms, very memorably used in the movie About Time. And so I always think of it as being a song that would play at a funeral, and I always think of every Nick Cave song as being a music that has a funereal aspect.
Funereal.
Yeah. I mean, he does the Bob Dylan song "Death Is Not the End," and there's quite a few that maybe are more specific, but this one just felt right. I don't know.
I love that the first line, "I don't believe in it, interventionist God." I'm like, that's a big word.
Yeah, how often do you get interventionist
I know. I'm just
into
like,
a
I
song?
think that might be like. I think so. All of a sudden, he had my attention,
Yes.
and I also love the fact that what this song was for me is religion. And plays a big part or not a big part. Like there's a spectrum of when you ask somebody what happens to us after we die. Right. So I felt like this was an olive branch to everybody. It's like, okay, I don't believe in that, but you believe in that. I think this is going to be okay.
Yeah.
You know, but then I got a little confused because he went into the oh Lord thing. I'm like, okay, do you really not believe in it? Like, what does an interventionist God look like that's different than... So anyhow, I felt like I wanted to chat with him a little bit more about that.
I think there's a complicated theology going on with Nick Cave.
Yeah.
But I think that it's, that song, like you said, I think a lot of it has to do with like free will and believing or not believing it, and how it helps us sometimes to not believe in the idea of free will, and how it serves us sometimes to believe in it. And, so in that way, it's really a song about life. But
thinking about death helps us think about life.
I would say it definitely does. Yeah. So there we go. This is our death mixtape. We've made our death mixtape. We've got Lyrics Legacies.
We hope you all appreciate it.
Yeah, we have Lyrics, Legacies, and Liner Notes coming up in a couple of weeks. So we've taken this time to reflect on songs about death, and then we can reflect on that.
It's going to be rich, and I think what's going to be fantastic is hearing from the people who had songs written for them, how they felt seen.
Yeah.
And how their reflections were interpreted. There's something that I think there could be some little gifts in that they weren't even accessing for themselves.
Yeah.
Right? So,
things you don't even really hear
that
you're saying.
Yeah. And you could, in whatever the musician's process is, oh, by the way, Karen, you said this 5 times. And she's like, did I really? So subconsciously,
right?
What is going on for somebody when that process is happening?
Well, I think it's a really cool gift that you're giving people. And I think it's fun that we all get to like witness it.
Yeah. Thanks for being part of it.
Yeah.
Thanks for getting my head in death in a different way.
Well,
yeah. Interpretive. It's like, what does somebody mean? Because curiosity. I think that's piece of it as well.
Well, I think it's like what we got at was something that's just very universal about listening to music, right? Is that you're listening to music and sometimes you're just listening to the song. And sometimes you're like, wait a minute, what's going on here?
Right.
Which is very funny because like a new Taylor Swift album came out today. So a couple of my coworkers who are really big Taylor Swift people are like very loudly interpreting all the lyrics, and it's very funny because with Taylor Swift, it's very different.
Yeah.
It's like doing Wordle or something. It's like each song is a little brain teaser,
right?
For you to unlock and do the word puzzle and figure out which person she's throwing shade at or who she's thinking about or whatever.
I think you've just invented something that everybody should do: a song Wordle.
The song Wordle,
ish.
Yeah,
it's instead of the New York Times, a crossword puzzle. here's this particular song, these lyrics, what do you think it meant? And have people all weigh in. That'd be kind of...
It would be fun. It would be very fun if there was one right answer.
Right. Yeah.
if you were like, well, you write a really heartfelt interpretation of this song, and they're like, wrong. It just turns red.
Try again tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, this has been a pleasure. Thanks for asking.
Thank you so much for coming on Mega Mixtape.
Thank you, Zach.